Hello again and welcome to Main Street Sports. We continue with our basketball preview here. We have Coach Tim Winkler from the Grandview Eagles. And Tim, how you doing, sir?
They're pretty good. We've had 7 practices now, and things have been going pretty well. I can't complain.
Awesome, awesome. Jeff Whitener's with us as well. Jeff, you've got the first question?
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about look at the Eagles at a glance from last season. Very successful season by any stretch of the imagination. 16-8 overall record, Tim. 3-2 in conference play. Fell to West County in the Class 3 District 3 semifinals by 1 point, and just an incredible but heartbreaking game there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You lost 2 players to graduation. Is that correct, Tim?
That's correct. Lily Patterson and Natalie Moore, and they're both going
Right,
to be
and
greatly missed for different reasons.
exactly. And Main Street Sports standout Natalie Moore, of course, she's down at Three Rivers on a softball scholarship now. But you do return 2 other Main Street Sports standouts, and that's Annabelle and Catherine Wakeland. And we'll talk a little bit more about them here in a second. But Coach, if you would just kind of briefly recap last season for everybody watching at home, and talk a little bit about that, even though there was a bit of a sting there at the end.
Yeah, you had to bring that up, didn't you? Yeah, that was a sting there at the end. That's for sure. We didn't play a great offensive game, but defensively, I couldn't have asked for any better. Uh, and we're hoping, obviously, like everybody else, to improve on what we did last year. There's talk that we may be going to Class 2, dropping down to Class 2, which I don't know if it will help us or hurt us. Uh, I think some people are excited about that possibility, but there's a part of me that not to give West County bulletin board material, but or anybody else that would be in that district, but I sure wouldn't mind having another crack at that one. But we've got our 2 lead scorers returning in the Wakeland girls, and Maggie Boker will become our defensive stopper, replacing Lily Patterson at that role. And speaking of Patterson, we've got Savannah, who is a pretty good defensive player in her own right. So we've got a pretty solid top 6. Hopefully I mentioned. I forgot to mention Lexi Walker. She played a lot of JV last year, but she's been a little bit a part of the varsity for the last 2 seasons, from her freshman year to now her junior season. And then we've got a foreign exchange student, young lady by the name of Anna Soranini, who definitely looks like she could help us out. She'll probably be our 6th person.
Tim, do you feel getting within a point last season of advancing to the state quarterfinals, does that give your team a little extra motivation this time around?
Yeah, there's no doubt, especially the way the West County game ended. Uh, I know the girls are set. They've got in their head that we could compete for a conference championship. We'll have to play a little better against people like St. Pius and Herculaneum than what we did last season. But I think they've got in their head that we could definitely compete for that. And then we know after last season, as long as we stay healthy, we could compete for a district championship too. I think going into that district championship game last year against West County, there was a little bit of doubt in their heads because of what West County had done to us the previous season. But after the first 4 minutes of that game, I think all doubt was removed from their minds. So I've got a group of girls who definitely have their eyes set on the possibility of a conference championship and a district championship. Now, I don't know if you can go to FanDuel and win any money on what they're feeling right now, but that's definitely what they have in their minds.
Well, Tim, I think you're absolutely right there, and I can't wait for the season to begin. I think we're going to see a much higher level of competition from all the teams in the JCAA small schools girls this year. But you touched on this briefly a little bit. Are there any incoming freshmen or other underclassmen that you project to have some key roles on your roster?
Well, I think Jade Rodberg, who's a sophomore, she'll see most of her playing time at the JV level, but she'll step in and give us some minutes varsity wise. Same thing with Sydney Riddle. Sydney's an awfully good shooter once she gets on. She if you leave her open and she is on. She's gonna put that ball in the basket. Freshman wise, we're kind of small with our class. We only have two freshmen. We're probably going to well, not probably. We are only going to play two JV quarters this year because of our numbers. We've got 13 total. Uh, so, and that's taken. That's our sophomores and freshmen together may give us six players. We've got, as far as age, we've got another sophomore that naturally plays up the varsity level. That's Catherine Wakeland. But we,
Sure.
we've only got basically six varsity and seven JV is what it comes down to, with a few of those ladies sharing time between the two groups.
Absolutely. You talk a little bit about Catherine Wakeland. She had a kind of a breakout season last season for the Eagles as a freshman. How will she factor in on offense and defense as far as the added responsibilities? You're going to give her some more responsibilities this season?
You know, not really, because we put so much on her last year already. I hated doing that to a freshman, but I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think Catherine couldn't handle it. And she did a pretty darn good job of handling it. There were a few times she got rattled and showed that she was a freshman, but I think she's learned from that. So I guess if you want to say it added responsibility, that's it. Don't get rattled. You've got a year of varsity, high school varsity experience under your belt, and but really we're not going to ask any more than that of her than what we already did last year.
That's one of the great things about small schools in our area is the fact that you can have a player that can play all 4 years and gain that tremendous amount of experience. That Tim, you talked a little bit about we talked about motivation and having that extra motivation to succeed this year, and the players getting comfortable with the fact that they can compete on a large big stage and level for you, whether it's in the conference or districts or state or uh, how do you set goals with your team? Is that something you sit down and talk about as practice begins now? And do the players set the goals, or is it a combination of yourself, your coaching staff, and the players? How does that work?
Well, we really don't sit down and talk about goals per se, but one of our goals, and I guess this is from me, is that we never lose. Either we win or we learn. And I know I'm still in that quote from somebody. I'm not sure who, but it's not mine. But I think that's a good goal in general. Not only in basketball, but in life. That either we succeed, or if we don't succeed, we learn from it. So the next time we give ourselves a chance to succeed. And I think the girls buy into that. You know, I think they understand the wisdom of that. And like I said, I wish I could take credit for it. I wish I were that smart. But uh, the girls, they every day I say, let's try to get at least 1% better. And if we could do that, by the end of the season, we're going to be pretty darn tough. Now, that's pretty tough to do every day, get 1% better as a group. If enough individuals do it, great. But we'd like for everybody to do that. But that's really about our only goal. I mean, like I said a while ago, I think the girls have in their head a conference title possibility and a district title possibility. But as far as coming right out and saying that, I don't think it needs to be said to them. I think they feel that already based upon what we did last year.
That's good. That's good. Coach, you've been here doing this for quite a while. Has your coaching philosophy or style changed over the years? Has you gained more experience, or do you just basically focus on the same priorities?
Pretty much focus on the same priorities, but I try to deliver that message a lot different when I did when I was a younger coach. I was pretty much a crazy man when I was a younger coach. I can tell everybody I'm medicated now, so I'm more calm. Uh, but I, I think I wish I would have used this approach as a younger coach, because I think I had respect for my players because of fear, and that's not a good thing. Now I think my players respect me more because of I try to put myself in their shoes as much as I can. I don't raise my voice nearly like I used to. I don't say put the balls in the rack and get on the baseline nearly as much as I used to. But although that is a very effective tool that I still use, but
Sure.
periodically. because if you use it all the time, it loses its effectiveness. But I just if practice is going well, I just try to reason with them. Talk to them about how many kids would love to be in their position to get out here and run around every day, but they can't for one reason or another. Things like that. I try to hopefully try to get them thinking that, yeah, I probably could give a little bit more effort than what I am today. And our first game at district, I've done this for a number of years now. I tell them picture the word life in their mind, and then look at the two letters in the middle of that word. And so many people live their life looking back and saying, "What if?" And I tell them, don't allow yourself to do that from this point forward. Throughout our district, throughout your life, do what needs to be done, and then you won't have to look back and regret and say, what if I would have played a little better defense? What if I would have talked on defense? What if I would have boxed out one more time? Would have that made a difference? So don't allow yourself to ask yourself, what if? Take care of that. Your life will be, I think, will be a happy one.
Well, Coach Winkler, those are words of wisdom that go across, not go beyond sports and life in general. And that's a fantastic way to end our interview here on that note. And we certainly appreciate you taking the time with us today. And we can't wait. We're very excited to get this season underway, and of course visit with you more as the season goes on.
Same here. I'm looking forward to the season. Love to talk with you guys. Missed you since we did that soccer game at St. Pius. Oh boy, that was a disaster on my part, I know. But I enjoyed spending time with you guys. And Jeff, we won't come to Jefferson this year, but that doesn't mean if you ever come to do our games that you can't roll out the red carpet for me
again. Looking forward to it, my friend.
Same here.
Thanks for being with us, Coach. That's Coach Tim Winkler from the Grandview Eagles.
Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Welcome back to another episode of Main Street Sports. We're here with Coach Phil Tessero of the Crystal City Hornets. We're going to do a preview on the Crystal City men's basketball team. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. Thanks for having me today, Ray.
Appreciate it. We're going to do a little recapping from last season here, the 21-22 season. We've got you down as 11-14 overall, 2-3 in the JCAA conference. You fell to New Haven in the Class 2 District 4 semifinals last season, and you also lost two players to graduation, very important players in Callaway Dashner and Nate Pruno. Dashner was also one of our Main Street Sports standouts, so I know that's a big loss. But, Coach, take us through the ups and downs of last season for the Crystal City Hornets.
Well, there were a lot of ups and downs. Our two seniors were really key for us, and we started the season without Dashner. He was recovering from a football injury, and then we actually finished the season without Pruno. He played a couple minutes in our New Haven loss, but he wasn't 100% by any means, and those are some really big shoes for us to fill. We had a couple really close games against good teams. Herky, we got beaten overtime. We played Kingston really tough. I think we lost by 1 or 2. Had a couple games that I thought maybe we really should have competed stronger than we did. But I guess overall I would say inconsistent with some highlights. And we really looked to compete a little stronger in the conference this year.
Absolutely. Who do you project to replace the production loss from Callaway Dashner, Nate Pruno, in terms of scoring, rebounds, and assists?
Well, it's going to be a really different approach. Those two guys were so big in what we did last year. Strong leaders, both on the court and off the court. we're going to be different this year. I mean, I've got 8 guys coming back that have all had some varsity experience. 3 of them were pretty big contributors points wise. Rusan, Kern, and Schaumburg all average 7 or 8 points a game. We've got 2 other seniors, Caden Adams and Javion Keith, that I think are going to see a lot of playing time. Juniors coming out of football, Cam Mays and Camden Bolton, and then we've got a sophomore, Nolan Eisenbeiss. So I've got 8 guys that I think are going to all see a lot of time. We're probably a little deeper than what we were the past couple of years, but we don't have those that offensive defensive combo that Dashner and Pruno gave us.
Absolutely. And there's always an Eisenbeiss at Crystal City. If it's not this year, it's next year. It just seems like they always have an Eisenbeiss, right?
and there's a couple more coming, I think. That's always a good thing.
There you go. Well, every season, the Hornets' schedule, it's frequently filled with teams from much larger schools. How do you mentally prepare your teams in terms of goals for the season, knowing that your overall record may not reflect your definition of success?
Well, that's a good question. It's always hard to go into a game where you really feel like you're overmatched. The Park Hills Christmas tournament tends to be that way. We drew Festus last year. We like to play those kind of teams. We like the challenge. We always set a goal of trying to be 500 or above, and that can be a struggle sometimes. We really use those games to prepare, to learn, to test where we are, kind of to get ready for our conference and then looking ahead to districts, of course. So we like those matchups, and we don't shy away from them. We'll play and compete and see how things go.
Absolutely. Are there any incoming freshmen or underclassmen that you project to have key roles on the varsity roster this year?
I really don't. Nolan Eisenbeiss as a freshman last year really was a big contributor defensively, rebounding, and basically giving us another guy that we felt comfortable using. This year, with those 8 returning guys, I don't see any surprises, freshmen coming in that are going to get much playing time. But I think bigger roles from Camden Bolton, Cam Mays as juniors, a bigger role from Nolan Eisenbeiss, along with those 5 seniors. I really like this group. We've had a little bit of slow start. We've had a lot of these guys playing football and just getting them back, getting them ready. We've had, a little bit of sickness. So, and to be honest with you, we're going to play a different style than we did. So it's kind of been revamping things, getting ready for Friday night against Oak Ridge.
Absolutely. Break down the JCAA Small School Conference with me here. Which teams do you feel will give the Hornets the biggest challenge?
Well, they'll all be a challenge. I think Herky's going to be really good. Watkins is such a great player, and he's got some good people around him. I think they're maybe the favorite coming in. St. Vincent's going to be good. Pius, we just really struggle to beat them. That's been a goal that we really want to compete against. Pius, St. Vincent, those kind of teams that maybe we haven't beaten in a few years. But, I guess if I had to say, and Jefferson with Coach Breeze is going to be good. Grandview's got a new coach. They always play hard. I just think preseason, I would say that probably Herky or St. Vincent have got to be favorites, but I don't rule somebody else sneaking up and beating some of these guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't know until you get into the conference, right?
That's why we play.
You kind of briefly mentioned it, so I'll go in a little more depth here. What can we expect from Crystal City in terms of style of play this season?
Well, we've got to utilize the whole floor. which means I think we need to be playing a faster pace than we've played in the past. Probably see a lot more man-to-man than we've played, just because we're a little deeper and we've got the athletes to do it. Offensively, we're really going to miss what Pruno brought to us as far as stability and distributing the ball. And of course, Dashner was always the focus for other teams. How are they going to stop him? So, it's going to be a little different this year. I've talked to some of my seniors that, you're not going to be a surprise anymore. People are going to know who Kern and Schaumburg and Rusan and people like that are. And so we're going to try to utilize the whole court and make other teams play maybe a little faster than what they want to.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time catching up with you and talking Crystal City Hornets basketball. Good luck to you, and we'll see you down the road here during the season.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ray. Always good to hear from you.
It's Coach Phil Testero from the Crystal City Hornets.